All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry that this is coming to you later than expected. I was having some computer problems this morning. So what you guys are going to need to do is find your journals or get a piece of paper that you're going to keep safe. All I've done was just turn the page from the previous notes that we took last week, and I have made a table. I'm not going to pause for you guys to draw this table on your own. I want you guys to just go ahead and do this as we go through. So this is all that we were doing last week, and then we're just doing 4 more problems today to get you guys set up and going. So looking at this very first example, it says y equals 3 to the x plus 5. So it's looking for the a value. It's looking for the number in front that we're multiplying everything by. If we don't see a number out front, that number is 1. So the a is 1. In this example, b is 3. That's my base. And my c is 5, my number out that I'm being added to. My y-intercept, I taught you guys this little trick last week, was your a value plus your c value, which is 1 plus 5, which is 6. But as we write it as a point, that's when x equals 0. So our x value is 0 and our y value is 6. That's our y-intercept. My growth or decay factor is going to be determined by my b value. Because my b value is greater than 1, that means that this is an example of growth. My domain is going to be all real numbers for all of our mathematical or our non-real world examples. And our range, let's go ahead and take a look at our Desmos to determine what our range is. And so I've included this Desmos calculator for you guys. We've got y equals 3. To get the to the, you have to push shift and 6, and that gives us our x. Tab over to normal typing using the right arrow, and then plus 5. So there we've got our asymptote at y equals 5, and all of our y values, all of our range values, are going to be greater than that asymptote value. So now going back to, here's my cat. This one's going to be y is greater than 5. Y is going to be greater than our asymptote value. Now let's take a look at our second example. My a is negative 1/2. That's my number out front. Make sure you include the negative. My b value is 2, and my c value is negative 6. My y-intercept is a plus c, which is negative 6 plus negative 1/2. So that means that my y-intercept is going to be 0, negative 6.5 or negative 6.5. Because my b value is greater than 1, or it's a whole number, this is going to be an example of growth. My domain is going to be all real numbers. And let's take a look at our graph to see what our range value is. Negative 1/2, you see that it makes a fraction. Tap over, put our 2 in parentheses, to the x minus 6. So here, I can even zoom out. Here we've got our asymptote at negative 6. All of our range values, all of our y values are going to be less than that negative 6 value. So y is going to be less than, a little smushed L, negative 6. 2 more. My a is 4 in this equation. 2/3 is my b value. 1 is my c value. A plus c is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So 0, 5 is going to be my y-intercept. Because my b value is less than 1, it's a fraction value, this is going to be an example of decay. My domain is all real numbers. And my range is going to be determined by my graph. So I'm going to go to Desmos. 4 2/3 to the x plus 1. And there we've got our asymptote at y equals 1, and all of our range values are going to be greater than our asymptote value. Everything is going up. So now it's going to be y is greater than 1. Last one. My a is -5. My b is 1/2. My c is 3. My y-intercept is a plus c, which is -5 plus 3, which is at 0, -2. We can always check that using our graph. My b value is less than 1. It's a fraction, so that means this is decay. My domain is all real numbers. And let's look at our graph to determine our range. So y equals -5, 1/2. Again, tab over to make your parentheses nice and big. To the x plus 3. So now we've got, here's 3, there's our asymptote, and all of our y values, all of our range values are going to be less than that value. And see, here's my y-intercept already, and I can double check that using Desmos. That's what we got in our table. But now our range values are going to be y is less than 3, my asymptote value. So that's going to be your little table that you fill out for your notes, but then you're going to look at your iExcel link, and there are a couple different ways that you can do this. So it says which equation matches this graph. You can look at the asymptote value, which is at y equals 4, and we know that our asymptote value needs to be our c value. So -4 doesn't make sense for these two. And then you can also take a look at whether or not this is growth or decay. So here you've got your b value as a fraction, and here your b value is a whole number. So fraction would be decay, or decreasing from left to right. And because this is an increasing graph, you can see that it's going up from left to right. This is going to be growth. So that's how you could do that one. When you're given the equation, and then you're going to match the graph, maybe you graph this in Desmos. So I've got -4, parentheses 1/4, to the x, to the parentheses, what's the other one? -4. And now you can look at that graph that you've graphed in Desmos and which one matches up to that. This one. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I hope that this is helpful.